So let's take a look at what we've got here. So first off is an overture. I don't know if I want to do an overture or not. There's a lot of bands that have done it that I've really enjoyed. I think Electric Light Orchestra has done it a couple times. AJR, I think, likes to do it. I just love the idea of having one song that kind of has all the themes in it and mixes them all together, kind of like a mashup of the album. It's some extra work, and I've never done something like that, but sounds fun, sounds interesting, so I might do that. But our first song is Addison Fair. Addison Fair is a song I wrote when I was in Vermont with my fiance. We were visiting her hometown, and we went to a fair in Vermont called Addison Fair. And so it's a real fair that happens. We went in August, I think, but the idea of this song is both an introduction into fall. It's this kind of early fall, September. It's beginning to get a little cooler, but it's also an introduction of the theme of nostalgia, which is a main staple of fall, I think. Fall is very nostalgic to me. And the idea of the song is that as a child, you go to a fair or Disney World or whatever, and it's this magical place, and you have all these wonderful memories. But then as you get older, you either don't have time to go to the fair anymore, or you just don't want to, or whatever, and it kind of loses that magic. But then as you get older and you have kids, you can take them, and then it kind of has that magic again. So that's the idea, and each verse is a different stage of life. So verse 1 is as a little kid, please can we go to Addison Fair? It's this magical place, there's no sadness or sorrow. And then verse 2 is you're a little older and you have a little bit more say in the matter, like let's go to Addison Fair, let's do it. And then verse 3 is, maybe late teens or whatever, why can't we go? There's no time anymore, the weekends are busy. And then you have this little instrumental here, and this is kind of a passage of time into adulthood. So then verse 4 is when you're adult, have you been to Addison Fair? Have you heard of that? And then it kind of has this decision of, all right, well, let's go back. Why not? Why don't we go back? There's still magic that can be found there. So that's Addison Fair. It's very fun. It's a very upbeat song. And I really like it a lot. It'll be a fun one to produce. So the next two songs are actually going to be covers of different songs. I think fall is a very folksy time. You're sharing old memories, you're sharing old songs together. That's the kind of idealized fall I have in my head. So these next two songs are covers. The first one is Shine On Harvest Moon, which is a song that I heard in the Over the Garden Wall soundtrack. They did a great cover of it there. But it's talking about the harvest moon. It's kind of October time, which lends itself to the kind of time progression of the album at this point. But it's also just a very vibey song. It kind of gives the vibe of fall. I've adjusted it a little bit, which I think is fine because I'm sure it's out of the public domain. I guess I don't really have a whole lot to say about this song. It kind of just gives the vibe of fall a little bit. The next song is Bringing in the Sheaves, which is a hymn that I remember singing a lot around Thanksgiving time. I think it's one of 2 Thanksgiving songs that exist, or hymns. But it's a very nostalgic song, and it really gives the fall vibes that I'm trying to communicate. So I think it's really, really helpful there. I would love to have some sort of big group of people singing it a cappella, like maybe a church congregation, or I don't know, a small group of some sort. So that would be really neat, give that kind of singing. And it actually transitions really well into the next song, which is Autumn Leaves. This is one that I've written. I think it's one of the best songs on the album. You've heard it a little bit if you watched some of my previous videos. But this one is kind of the thesis of the album. It talks about the whole theme of beautiful death and then redemption. It talks about in the first verse, and the people gather around, and then the voices of the forest join the chorus of the trees. This picture I'm trying to paint is a bunch of people in the forest singing together, which is, I don't know if that doesn't usually happen on a regular basis, but it's very fall feeling to me. So if you want to picture the bringing in the sheaves in the image that I'm painting, they're singing bringing in the sheaves in the forest together when the leaves are falling. So that's what I picture in my head. I want to have some sort of smooth transition into this song from Bringing in the Sheaves. So that's the plan. We'll see how that plays out. But as the song goes on, there's not really much progression. It kind of just, it touches on different vibes of fall and different pictures and metaphors. So one part of this song that I really want to talk about is the last verse and the final chorus. The last verse talks about the death. There's red, the blood of green, soaks the ground and sky between, and orange is the flame that burns the life away. So it kind of has this, And then it builds into this final chorus, and that word, but red and orange is the morning, which is the sunset. So it's kind of drawing the parallel between red and orange is the leaves as they're dying, but then red and orange is the sunset of the new day, the new morning. So drawing that parallel. Then it further goes into that on the final chorus, where it makes a very, very blatantly Christian statement. Red and orange is the morning when the sun shall come again. And that sun can be S-U-N or S-O-N, the sun outside as the morning breaks, or the sun, Christ, as he comes back to save his people. So making green the rotting forest once again. So it kind of ends it out on this very hopeful moment, and then that goes straight into winter. And I'll talk about that in my next video. So thanks for coming along. These are going to be some fun videos. I love talking about the songs and the meaning behind them. So I'll see you tomorrow.